It's something to be said about if you're having a t-shirt that is too tight here, no matter what size you get, or if you have to size up or size down just for something to fit you, it is not the right construction. This means there's going to be a lot more wear and tear here because you're just pulling at the arm, you're pulling at the sleeve. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today the hair is giving something and we're just gonna have to receive it. I'm just working with my natural texture today. It's very humid, so excuse that. I'm not intentionally going for like 80 rocker hairband vibe, but that's what we're left with today, so we're working with it. I am back with another sustainable fashion sit-down how-to kind of video. You guys have been really liking these recently, and we've been getting a lot of good conversation and discussion going, so I kind of wanted to keep that going, obviously, and I think I'm just going to make this like an actual official playlist series of just sustainable fashion how-to, slow fashion how-to, whatever. I'll come up with the title later. But I'm just very excited that this is getting some traction and that you guys seem to really be enjoying the discussion that we're having around it and taking some of the tips to heart and like really thinking about what it means to participate in slow fashion and kind of break away from the trends and develop your own personal style. And I am so happy to lend you a helping hand in doing so. In my very kind of first video of this series about why you can't quit fast fashion, the color June commented, "What are your tips for finding higher quality items?" And then goes on to say, "I'm not interested in designer, just good quality, but I find that I have a lot of low quality clothing that is wearing out. And the sweater I bought only 3 months ago is worse for wear than the shirt I've had for a decade." I think that's a really great question and a really great explanation and a lot of what people are feeling and the kind of the frustration of higher quality clothing. I think I'm going to make a separate video topic on this, but our clothing simply isn't made to last for decades like it was used to. If you guys would be interested in the kind of historical breakdown of that, let me know. I would love to get into the juicy nitty-gritty of all of it. But with that in mind, is higher quality clothing impossible to find? The answer is no, I don't think so, but I do think it's harder to find than it once was. High quality clothing used to just be the norm because these trend cycles weren't so ridiculously high in the turnover that your clothing was meant to last. You were going to wear it time and time again and repeat for lots of seasons. Now that's not so much the case. You're lucky if something makes it out of the current season that you're in. But with being a recovering shopaholic and someone who used to love to haul and buy into the trends and buy the next new thing, I've learned that thrifting isn't going to be your savior. You do actually have to invest in higher quality clothing pieces, or else you're going to find that once you develop your personal style and you do have this lovely button down that you love to wear time and time again starts to wear out, then you're going to have to purchase another one. And that's kind of against the whole entire point of what you were trying to do in the first place. I understand your frustrations. I understand that it is a harder process than it even looks from the outside. It's not just about finding your style, which is a whole journey on its own, but then once you find your style and what you love to wear, finding high quality clothing pieces that are going to last as much as you want to wear them. And I think that's where things kind of get a little bit dicey, a little bit tricky, and companies will deceive you. They are definitely not there to be your bestie. They're going to kind of trick you into buying whatever you can, basically. I just want to cut through the noise and give you some helpful and actionable tips on what you can do next time you intend to go shopping and add to your wardrobe of things that you're going to wear time and time again. First of all, hopefully you have a good enough basis of your wardrobe that you don't need to go shopping. I want to say every time I make a video like this that the most sustainable thing that you can do for your wardrobe is wear what you already have until it literally falls to bits. And then even then you can make it into a household rag or something like that and, repair it and treat it right in the meantime to prevent that from happening. But obviously, maybe you're at the point where you just actually need to replace things and you want to do it intentionally and consciously and with high quality pieces. So let's get into it. I do first want to say that if you like this video, you should go and check out the other ones that I've made. I'll leave like a link somewhere on the screen and also down in the description box so you guys can check out similar videos to this one. And if you like, subscribe because I definitely have a lot more in the works for you. The very first thing that I think you can do is feel the clothing pieces. This is obviously impossible to do if you're shopping online, But if you find yourself in a circumstance where you're shopping in store, first and foremost, feel it. This goes for thrifting or buying firsthand. Or even if you are at like a vintage shop or clothing swap or something, not just looking at it and being like, ooh, I like that, but feeling it is going to tell you so much about the quality clothing that you're touching versus just looking at it and thinking, okay, yeah, add to cart. First and foremost, when you're feeling it, you want to feel if it's comfortable to wear. I feel like we've all been in a position, maybe I'm kind of projecting here, but I was thrifting one time. I thought this sweater was so pretty, so cute. I just couldn't pass it up. I checked the tag. I saw it's 100% acrylic, and I knew instantly that meant it was going to be so itchy when I wore it. But I bought it anyway. And guess what? I hardly ever wore that thing. And also acrylic, being a byproduct of oil, it's going to shed a lot of microplastics and just not hold up as long. So there's that. You know, you should wear something that's super comfortable. A lot of times that's going to be natural fibers like hemp, cotton, linen, silk. Those sorts of fibers are going to be really nice to wear, and they're going to last you a long time because they're not just meant to fall apart. You also want to make sure that when you're doing kind of like the touch test, that it's not so lightweight and airy or sheer, see-through, either intentionally or unintentionally. If it's intentionally like a sheer overshirt kind of thing for like the beach, different story. But if it's like a graphic t-shirt and you're like, they're totally gonna see my bra or cami or bralette or whatever, or even just your nips, like out, then maybe that's not a clothing piece you want to invest your hard-earned coin into, and you shouldn't. A really good example of this, I actually used to work at a Forever 21, and I used to think a lot of the shirts that they had on display were really cute, and then I could tell the way the light would hit them when someone was like re-racking it or even pulling it off the rack was that it was just literally see-through. It could have been the cutest thing in the world, but if I can't wear that and feel comfortable in it and feel like my whole chest is on display, then I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to wear it. And the see-through test is definitely something that can immediately clue you into what kind of quality you're working with. Usually it's t-shirts, but even like dresses, bodysuits is a good one. Sweaters, sometimes maybe they're like too loosely knit because the manufacturer just didn't want to put the time into making a full knit clothing piece. You kind of know right away that you're getting what you pay for. This also isn't to say that luxury is automatically high quality clothing, because you might find that some brands are just overhyped and they have a high price point, but they're really not made of like the best materials with the best manufacturing processes, and they're just kind of fast fashion with a bigger price tag. So yeah, touching the fabric can definitely go a very, very long way when you're first kind of getting into things. And something that I think is a really cool skill that I've kind of like learned over time and just kind of worked on is I can kind of tell what something's made out of the second I touch it. And I think that's a really cool skill to kind of pick up as you're shopping. I can tell if something is 100% cotton or if it's a cotton blend. Sometimes I will say some of these blends are very highly manufactured and, you know, made in a way where you almost can't tell. But if something has like acrylic in it, oof, I can definitely feel that. Or if it's like a linen acrylic blend, like I can just touch it and just tell that it's not 100% a natural fiber. It is important to note that not every time is a 100% natural fiber the best option. I'm talking about swimsuits or even activewear, for example. Sometimes, yes, you are gonna need like a blend of something, but the construction of that fabric should then be super, super high quality construction. And that brings us to my next point. You can tell the construction of a clothing piece just by its stitching, if it's reinforced, how it lays on you, if it bunches or if it pulls. A lot of other minute sort of details that go into the actual construction of the clothing piece, and that means how it's sewn together, that means how it's reinforced, whether that be at the collar or where the buttons are or the sleeves are. If there are places that have a lot of wear and tear, like let's say your elbows, for example, if those are reinforced so that you don't literally wear holes into them. I'm actually wearing a pair of jeans right now. I'm not going to show you where the crotch is busted, but the crotch is busted. And it is actually a secondhand pair of jeans, and it is a project of mine to repair them because I do love them. But again, it's just something that like the brand, they're like Urban Outfitters or something. It's just not super high quality. And you know, I guess I can show you like the stitching and the construction of the denim of this pants versus like Madewell or Levi's even. 1 second, please. Okay, we're back. So I have 3 pairs of jeans in front of me. The one that I'm wearing right now, BDG, is the brand. Then I have a pair of Levi's jeans and then also a pair of Madewell jeans. I'm going to do some close-ups of these so you guys can actually see in detail what I'm talking about. But I don't know that much about sewing. I don't know that much about like fashion design and construction, but what I can tell you is that the quality of thread for the Madewell and the Levi's jeans is just so much higher quality, like thread count, like it's just thicker, and that's exactly what you want to look for, especially in jeans, like when it's something. Personally, I do a lot of wear and tear in my jeans. It's not like a pair of linen pants where it's for the beach and it's for easygoing. It's like I might be doing like gardening or kind of rougher activities in my jeans. And then even the feeling of the denim itself, the pair of pants that I have on now, again, I love them. They're so soft. They're so worn in. They're even like breaking on my thigh. Like there's some wear and tear distressing spots on my thigh versus when I touch the Madewell and I touch the Levi's, it's just so much thicker. It's just sturdier. And that's exactly what you want from a pair of jeans, especially when you're going to be doing a lot of like activities in them. Maybe you're doing like horseback riding, or I don't really think people go hiking, but you know, just stuff where you want some extra kind of coverage protection. I mean, the jeans were made for the construction worker and just kind of like the work person. So it definitely makes sense that if you're going to be wearing jeans, you want them to be high quality because you want them to be able to, you know, handle the work that you're doing in them. So I'm going to do some close-ups. Again, I don't really know that much about fashion construction, but the little that I do know or the little that I'm looking for helps me so much when making purchasing decisions. And just knowing that like, it's not the name brand of Levi's, like they have a good reputation for a reason, and they're definitely very sturdy in terms of what I'm looking for in denim construction. And yeah, these are some of my favorite pairs of jeans that I wear all the time. This Madewell pair I have in black as well because that's how much I freaking love them. So the jeans that I have on now, they're very lightweight, they're very like thin. This is the spot where I'm having some distressing, and yeah, they were secondhand, so there's really not that much information on like how long these jeans truly are lasting, but it's definitely not long enough. Like I've had those Madewell jeans for a few years now, and I've worn them timelessly, so, and they're still holding up very well, and I don't even wear the jeans that I'm currently wearing as often, and they were definitely falling apart first, so there's that to consider. Not only the stitching is very important, but also the construction in terms of like how it lays. A lot of fast fashion companies won't take the time to kind of make like an inclusive or sizing that just kind of works across the board versus higher quality clothing brands will. For example, this t-shirt that I'm wearing now is Eileen Fisher, and it's hard to pull off these kind of sleeves where it fits nicely around the armpit and just kind of lays very flatteringly. It's not too tight around the chest, it's not too tight around the armpits or the shoulders, it just lays nicely how it should. Versus I'm going to change into a Uniqlo t-shirt that I have. Now, don't get me wrong, I still do like Uniqlo, as bad as that might sound. They're just one of the fast fashion companies that aren't exactly blatantly trying to destroy the planet. So I appreciate that they have their efforts and that they're trying to do things like hem pants and recycle and use better fabrics. And I understand like the shirts are different styles, so it is a little bit difficult to compare them, but this even just sits a little bit tighter at the shoulders. They're both small sizes, by the way. It's a little bit tighter at the armpit. This isn't going to be something that fits every size small person. Like again, my bust isn't huge and it's still already kind of pulling here, and that's just the construction of the t-shirt itself. I'm not saying every t-shirt that you buy needs to be like loose fitting and just one size fits all, but it definitely is something to be said about if you're having a t-shirt that is too tight here, no matter what size you get, or if you have to size up or size down just for something to fit you, it is not the right construction. This means there's going to be a lot more wear and tear here because you're just pulling at the arm, you're pulling at the sleeve, and there's a lot more tension there, and it's just going to unravel and deteriorate the clothing piece faster than it was intended to, or meant to, or should as a t-shirt, something that you wear daily. I will say I do like Uniqlo as an affordable option because I do love the way the collar fits, but again, it's just around like the armpit kind of area. Things start to get a little bunchy or pull too much, and that's how you know if you have like excess fabric in certain places or not enough and it's pulling, that it's just not that well constructed. Okay, it definitely started raining, so the lighting just got a little bit darker, so sorry about that. A few other notes of something that you want to look out for, especially in knitwear, because we're going into summer right now, so I haven't really been focused on like kind of winter pieces, but let's say you get some kind of knitwear. I think like Target has a bunch of options when it's winter time, but it pills super easily. So pilling means like it just wears down on the front or the back or wherever there's a lot of like friction, and it makes these little balls of fabric. That's also something you want to make sure you stay far away from, because then it's just going to literally deteriorate and wear down and just be like only the thread left of the knitwear that you got. I wonder if you guys can hear the rain, but if you can, so sorry about that. We're going to keep pushing through. That's definitely something you want to steer clear from when you get to your winter wear pieces. Also for knitwear, something that's constructed very loosely, very poorly, and it's not going to actually keep you warm. That's something you should also avoid. Obviously, you want to stay warm when it's cold outside. And one more note about materials. I prefer organic, natural materials because that means you're not putting any chemicals on your body or any toxic dyes. When the yarn was being spun, the fabric was being made and put together. And also recycled natural fabrics are huge. There are more pushes to use recycled natural fibers, and I think that is wonderful and beautiful because I have spoken about recycled plastics and polyesters and stuff before, and it's just not as great as we're meant to believe. I also want to talk about the details of your pieces. Now I'm talking more about like buttons, zippers, latch closures, those sorts of things. Obviously, if it's something that is meant for a lot of wear and tear, like it's a button on your button-up shirt or even your jeans or whatever, check to see that it's stitched in very nicely, but that you can also move it freely enough. It's not something that's going to literally pop off, and it's not something that's going to be so stiff and it's just like buttoned down or stitched down straight to the fabric that you can't move it easily. Again, these are things that fast fashion companies don't really pay any mind to. They're just trying to get it out as fast as they can. So if you're having to struggle to button up your top, you're going to have to rip it loose and it's just going to pop off, and it's just kind of this cycle of, well, you were only going to wear it 3 times anyway, so what does it matter if the button popped off? Or it's so loosely stitched that you are wearing it a lot and then all of a sudden the button goes missing one day and then you can't wear that piece anymore. Those are sort of little details that you also want to pay mind to. And then also, if you're zipping up a zipper and it is constantly getting caught in the fabric and you're just trying it on even, steer clear from it. That obviously shows you, it goes back again to the bunching of fabric, that it just wasn't well constructed, it wasn't mindfully, thoughtfully constructed, and it's going to catch on that fabric, it's going to rip it, or the zipper is going to break and it's going to be useless to you. And that also goes the same thing for like latches and the backs of dresses. If there's only like one tiny piece of thread keeping it to the dress or to whatever pair of pants or clothing or whatever it is, it's not going to last you very long because accidents happen, you know, like obviously you want to be delicate with clothing, that you want to last a long time, that's part of it, but again, accidents happen. Your clothing should be of good enough quality to keep buttons from literally flying off every time you try to put on a shirt. Also, last thing, a good thing to check for are certain kinds of certifications. If it's like Ecotex or Tencel, or maybe it's a B Corp, there's a ton of different little certifications that clothing pieces may have that tell you it was manufactured properly, the workers are treated well, or it was farmed in a regenerative way, or maybe this corporation is, you know, paying to do carbon capture, or, you know, donating to charities that do such things. That sort of kind of certification list, look into it, see if it aligns with what you're looking for in your clothing pieces, but also beware of greenwashing, because any mega million corporation can say that they're doing carbon capture or carbon offsets, but really not doing jack shit about their carbon emissions. So definitely look for stuff like that. Don't be greenwashed, because it is not the easiest thing to obtain certifications, but maybe some are easier to obtain for their business than others. Again, maybe they're telling you they're doing carbon capture, but they're not treating their workers fairly and paying them a living wage. And then maybe also they're farming parts of the world that, are restricted in the fashion industry. So all things to look out for. And I know it can be very exhausting looking for quality pieces that fit your personal style, that are in your budget. But I do want to plug this one resource that I absolutely love so much. It's called Good On You, and it's somewhere that I can go and look for any brand that I'm contemplating buying, and it gives me a rating immediately. Now, it doesn't have every single brand on the planet, but it does have a lot. So I'm wearing Eileen Fisher. This gets a rating of good, I believe, or great on Good On You, which makes me feel good. This is a source that I trust to tell me that the environmental impact is not disastrous, the workers are being paid fairly, and that my clothing pieces are made without any animal cruelty. And those are kind of the three pillars of what they judge on. And again, I think it's a really great resource. It's another kind of cheat sheet way to check for actual quality clothing pieces. Like, there are some brands I really thought in my mind, oh, they're doing so much, and then I go check the Good On You rating, and it really breaks it down for me of like, they're doing enough here or not enough here. And again, I just think it's a really helpful resource that you should check out, especially if you're interested in higher quality clothing for yourself. So yeah, those are my tips and tricks. I really hope they helped. If you have any to contribute, please comment down below. I'm sure we'd all love to see what everyone's doing, wearing, buying, and how you're kind of, making an impact with your dollar, because I feel like a lot of times we forget that as consumers, we do have a lot more say than we allow ourselves to, and it is how we vote with our money. So I want you to keep that in mind, that you have more power than you think, and to definitely not, fall prey to greenwashing. Do your research, do your due diligence, and add things to your wardrobe that are going to last you so you don't have to go shopping again. I know not everyone loves to shop, and it's not accessible to us all the time. So when you do go, make it worthwhile. If you guys want to see more content from me, you should stick around to the end screen. There's going to be a video recommended just for you and a playlist related to this video. So go ahead and check that out. I will see you guys next Sunday. Until then, don't forget to be kind to yourself, others, and the planet. Bye.